Can you tell us what happens here?
This is actually one of our stray or adoption kennels. Here at Animal Care Services, we bring our dogs and we keep them separate from cats. We want to make sure that we don't have any problems. And in our old kennels, back at our old facility, we did have dogs and cats together, and it really stressed out the cats quite a bit. So we want to make sure that we keep our animals as healthy as possible. And this is one of the ways that we do it, is we keep them separate. Here in this dog building, it's one of 3 dog buildings that we have that are just for dogs. And so we bring in animals that are found roaming on the streets, animals that are strays, animals that have collars and tags, and we think that they might be owned. We bring them here, we try to figure out who their owners are and give them a call so that they can come and pick up their animals. Of course, we don't want to keep them here if we don't have to. We talked about rescue groups earlier. We also have rescue groups that come and take animals from us as well so that they can adopt them out, whether it be through their shelter or through their organization. So we've got a lot of animals that come in here. We've got animals that come in that maybe were strays in the field, animals that come in that maybe are owned animals that we want to make sure get back to their owners. We have another kennel that's specifically for dogs. One of those 3 kennels that I talked about, that particular kennel is for dogs who are involved in bites. Animals that are involved in bites are governed or authorized by a state law. We need to make sure that we follow that state law when we have any kind of dealings with those dogs that have bitten somebody. So that's a very, very secure kennel, and we don't usually allow public access to that kennel. We want to make sure that those animals that have been involved in bites are secure and safe until we finish with whatever rabies testing or hearings that we have to do in connection with that dog attack.
Can you tell us about these outside pens?
This is actually a really cool area of the shelter because this is our socialization area, and basically that means it's a doggy playground. We bring our dogs out here to play. You can see that there's a boxer that some potential adopters are getting ready to go play with. It just gives folks an opportunity to meet the dog. Dogs act a certain way when they're in a shelter, and maybe they're scared because they're in their cages and their true personalities don't come out. When you bring them outside and they get to play and they run around with toys and maybe get some treats, that's when their true personality comes out. So it makes them a better dog. It makes them more adoptable, and it gives folks and even our volunteers an opportunity to see what the dog is really like and decide if that's the dog that they want to take home with them. So it's a great opportunity, and of course, the dogs love it. The dogs love coming out here and playing. You can see that the dogs are just having the time of their lives. I mean, it's a good time for the dogs and it's a good time for the pets. And when you have both of those things together, it makes for a better pet-parent relationship. So, of course, that's going to keep dogs inside their homes, and that's what we want to do here at Animal Care.
Can you tell us about these kennels?
Absolutely. This is our puppy kennel, and we try to keep our puppies separate from our regular dogs because puppies can be, just like human babies, a lot more susceptible to getting sickness, to getting disease and different conditions. So we want to make sure that they remain healthy so we can, of course, get them adopted. So we keep our puppies separate from the other dogs. If we have a mama dog that comes in and she's getting ready to give birth, or she already has given birth and she has her puppies, we'll keep them in here too, because when the puppies are quiet and the puppies are sleeping, it's actually a pretty quiet building. Mama can relax, and she has her babies with her, and that's the best thing for those puppies, is to be with their mama. So we make sure that we keep mama dogs in here with their pups, or mamas that are giving birth. And then, of course, once the puppies are born and they're ready to get adopted, we keep them in here too, just to keep them healthy.
What is your policy or procedure about when people find puppies?
Well, the first thing that we'd like to stress is that if people do find puppies, if they find dogs or even a cat, kittens, anything, if they find an animal, the most important thing to us, try and find a home for it yourself. We do not want to see animals come into the shelter, because anytime animals come into the shelter, they run the possibility of getting sick. When you have a lot of animals housed all together, that creates the potential for disease. The more animals are stressed out. You want to make sure that you prevent disease, that you reduce disease. And so many of the animals that come into our shelter are not vaccinated to begin with. So we want to make sure that if folks do find a box of puppies or puppies on the side of the road, a dog, a cat, maybe some kittens, do everything that they can to make sure that they try and find a home for them themselves. If indeed they decide to keep those puppies for more than 72 hours, those puppies are by law theirs. They become the owner of those animals. Anybody that feeds or harbors, gives water, medical care, or attention to animals for more than 72 hours becomes their owner in the eyes of the law. So if folks want to bring in animals that they have found, they need to understand that this shelter has a certain number of cages, and once those cages are full, we cannot humanely take in more animals. We want to make sure that the animals that are housed here at Animal Care Services are housed humanely. We do not put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 animals in a cage. It's cruel and it's inhumane treatment. We do not do it. We will not do it. And I don't know that there's any shelter in San Antonio that will do that. So when folks come in and they think that we have room, in reality, we're making sure that we do have humane housing for the animals that are here. If there are empty cages and we can take in the animals that you bring, we will do so. But if it's your animal, there is a process, and we only take surrender animals, owned animals, by calling a certain number on a certain day. They have to make an appointment to do so. So owner surrendered animals are by appointment. Stray animals are brought in if we have the room to bring them in.